Okay, now
There
we're
it goes.
live.
Yeah, I see it.
But yeah, it's like super easy. Like I'm on Mac, so you know how the audio and routing and all that can be kind of weird. But StreamYard just makes it super easy. There we go.
And it
Yeah, we're
just
live.
pulls up the comments from YouTube and shit.
Yeah, like
That's fucking sick.
yeah, you should see it on the same on you on the sidebar.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's where the comments go, and like I'll be able to
So
click on them and all that.
wait, so it'd be in comments, right? What private chat is just us?
Do we have a private chat?
Bro, I don't know. It says private chat, comments, and recording.
Oh yeah, I'm sure private chat's just us, and then
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the comments are there. See there we go.
Fantasious.
What's good, Fantasis? How you doing? How's everybody doing today? Yeah, I'm gonna let it go for a little bit, let some more people join, but I hope everybody's doing good today. Right now, we have YouTube content creator, recently viral on TikTok,
Let's go.
producer Relik. How's it going, bro?
Good. How are you, man?
Doing good. You have some pretty big placements like Trevor Daniel, Reester, 6-0, Love on Friday, a lot more. So it's a pretty good guest to have on the podcast, not podcast, office hours, live session number 2.
I mean, it's practically a podcast, but it's dope because I finally get to talk to you in person because we've been chatting it up for a while now, just like on some Discord shit, you know?
Yeah, yeah. No, I've actually been watching you for a lot longer than that. Like
That's crazy.
I found you years ago back from your videos in like 2017, 2018.
Oh, so like probably like right in the beginning then, right?
Yeah, because I started producing like in 2016. And I
Damn, that's
always
crazy.
remember from back then, like you were one of the producers that would like always pop up and like I would always watch their shit. So now it was really cool that we've like been able to connect and everything.
Yeah, that was like a completely different era of like YouTube, at least for like the producer community.
Yeah. Yeah, it was for sure. Like, especially the beginning when I feel like YouTubers like Pat Ryan
Yeah,
and
bro.
that
Yeah.
style of content was king back then to it's a whole different thing nowadays. So I was actually gonna talk to you about that, but we can go ahead and start there. Or first, let's go ahead and get into what your background's like. Like, how'd you get into making music? What were you doing like before you started being like, I want to get on YouTube and make content and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, I've been producing for like probably 11 years now, but I was in bands all throughout high school. Not like orchestral band like for school, but like just shitty deathcore bands and like just terrible rock music and stuff like that, which I still love to listen to. But then I kind of heard like Skrillex and I was like, "Whoa, you can literally do it all yourself. Like I don't need anybody." And cuz it was kind of hard to depend on people at that time. So, um, yeah, then I started like kind of getting into recording some friends, and then it just kind of um, evolved from there. I started going to school for audio engineering, interned in LA at a few studios, and then realized that I just liked the creation aspect of it like so much more than the actual technical side. Um, and then that's kind of when I decided to kind of open up a YouTube channel and kind of like teach people on it because there really wasn't that many, I guess, like people with an actual background in it at that time on YouTube that were informing people. So, especially
Yeah.
with people like Beats and Ableton oriented, was like a super foreign thing. Like, there's probably only a couple people who are really doing it, like Chris Punsalon and I don't know who else uses Ableton. That
Probably like Ramzoid and
yeah, Ramzoid. Ramzoid's dope.
yeah. Because I remember back then like Ramzoid and Andrew Huang are the producers I saw use
Yeah.
Ableton that got me to switch from Logic when I first started. But
Wait, you're on Ableton?
yeah, I use Ableton.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been using it since around back then when you probably started posting is when I switched.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good.
I'm
We got
I'm about to
we got
make a
some.
video on like mastering FL. I really want to get good at FL.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got FL a couple years ago, so I'd be able to like collab because everybody uses FL.
Yeah.
So like if I'm ever in the studio with people, like I didn't want to be like clueless.
Exactly, bro. That was the
Yeah,
thing is last time I went to LA, I was in the studio with, Reister and Zetra, who did, like he's got stuff with, like, Sofago and SSG Kobe and, like, a bunch of people. But,
yeah.
oh, Eric DOA, he's basically Eric DOA's main producer.
Oh, okay.
Um, but yeah, we were working on a song and we were using FL and I was like, "I have no idea what I'm doing right now." And
Yep.
it sucked and ever since I'm like, "I'm just gonna get it down." That way, anytime I'm in a studio session, I just like I know, you know?
Yeah, that's exactly why I bought it. And I didn't want to be in that position. But yeah, it's good to see everybody here. How this is gonna go, the first half of it is gonna be just an interview between me and Relik, and then at the end, we're gonna be taking audience questions. So if anybody here has any questions they want to drop for Relik, go ahead and leave them in the comments here on YouTube, and we'll come back and see it, and then we'll start taking some more questions there towards the end. But yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know you were in bands and all that either.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I was,
Yeah,
like, super into hardcore, deathcore. I was, like, constantly going to Warped Tour and
same.
just
I
kinda that
was the exact
whole
same.
yeah. But,
Pretty much the whole scene like that, you know?
I mean, that's kinda what drew me to Skrillex though, is because he was in From First to Last, the band,
Yeah.
which is how I discovered him, and then, I found his MySpace, like, way back in the day before, Scary Monsters came out, and I was just like, "This is great, like, this is so foreign to me," but it was just so cool that one person can just do everything.
Yeah, that was crazy. I remember when I was a lot younger, like 13, is when I first saw wanted to make music, and it was after hearing Skrillex and asking my mom to take me to Sam Ash and try and they tried to sell me like DJ shit. So like I didn't start making music back
Yeah.
then, but yeah, Skrillex was definitely a big inspiration
I
back
think, like,
then.
most if you got into EDM, like, it was mostly through Skrillex, I think, especially in that era, it was just or, like, UKF dubstep. But, yeah, Skrillex was I don't know, he just kinda paved the way for how electronic music is today.
Yeah, for sure. Skrillex and like UKF, like how you said, they were huge, especially way back then in that era.
Yeah, and Relik originally started out as a dubstep project. Um,
Really?
yeah, I was doing, like, dubstep, and then it kinda turned into the whole, like, hybrid trap type of stuff. And then, eventually it kinda I was just like, "Why am I doing this?" I really like vocals on my beats and stuff, like and then that's when I kinda was just like, I pivoted to the type beat tutorials and stuff like that.
That's cool. Did you ever have a type beat channel?
I did for a very brief moment. I wanna say I only did it for a few months, um, which was right around that 2017, 2018 era. Um, but yeah, I made a couple grand the first, like, month or 2.
Really?
Um, but yeah, I don't know, I have a lot of friends that are kinda, like, really into that and, like, we're doing really well, and, like,
Did
it's
they help you
kinda
out a little
finicky
bit?
as far as like, if you don't post consistently, your, type beat channel can, like, tank in
Yeah.
a matter of, like, not even a month, like, it could be a couple weeks of not
Yeah.
posting and just algorithms like, "Nope."
Yeah, 100%. You know, like if you lose momentum on a type beat channel, it's so hard to get it back.
Yeah. What's
Especially
your how's
because
yours going?
oh yeah, you know, I've kind of pivoted away from focusing on, type beat specifically
Yeah.
within the last like year and a half. So I definitely haven't been posting consistently at all. But yeah, like I said, like you stop and the momentum just like tanks, you know?
Yeah, I don't know if you know View. He was doing, like, R&B, kinda, like, harder trap stuff. He was making in his peak, he was doing, like, 6K a month,
Oh,
and then
really?
he stopped posting for, like, a month because he was in school for, like, business and stuff like that, and, like, ever since, like, his channel just, like, basically flopped, and, now he doesn't do it anymore, which sucks because he was one of my favorite producers back then, so it's
Yeah,
just
no, that's how
it's
it
rough.
is. Like my type B channel kind of popped off because like I went like over a year just posting every day. And that's the reason why I got like momentum and all that. But then, after a while, like that's a crazy schedule to maintain. if you're trying to do other things, like if type beat channels first thing, only thing you do, that's not that hard. But then it's like you get tired making the same types of beats. It's like
Exactly, that's me, like, I really struggle with, like, a consistent sound because 'cause I'm like, "Well, what if I do this? What if I made an EDM beat?" Or like, I don't know, it just kinda, like, pivots into something completely different than originally what I started with, but which can be good in some senses, like, I feel like when I'm in the studio, I'm more valuable because I can be in with an R&B artist, or I could be with someone who's, does like, I guess, more EDM or alt rock or, whatever. But, it's like a type B channel. It's like you really got to niche down and do one thing and do it really well
yeah,
and like find your lane and just stick with it. Which for the people who do that, I admire them so much because like that itself is a skill in its own way.
for sure. Yeah, no, I'm the exact same way. Like before I was doing music full time, I would kind of just make whatever I wanted to and like always watch different kinds of tutorials. So like even if it wasn't my main thing, like I'd like mess around with like EDM or R&B or just whatever, like boom bap. But then it's like when you start doing the type beat stuff and when that's like you're relying on that for your income, like you kind of do got to drop the same kind of beats very
Mhm.
consistently because it's really hard to pivot from what gets you attention.
Yeah, especially now, like I've been getting a what's up, Fallen, by the way. That's the homie right there. He's got a pretty solid channel. I think he's almost at like 30K. But
Oh, really? Nice.
yeah, he does like dark beats. I think that's how he tags them too. He's just dark style. Um, but yeah, I forgot where I was going with that. I totally lost my train of thought.
Yeah, I think it's about the type beats. I think it's a lot harder to like hold that momentum because the type of content that it is isn't really what YouTube wants
Mhm.
versus the actual content like what you make and a lot of the other like the people we're talking about earlier. It's like making actual YouTube videos is a lot easier to build a brand versus just like a faceless type beat channel.
Yeah, that's true, and I totally remember what I was gonna say, but basically, like, I've been getting a lot of comments about, like, on TikTok and YouTube and Instagram about, making a type beat channel, but then I'm just scared because it's like, I can't just post anything or it feels like I can't, so I feel like I have to niche down, and it's like I'm most known for the Trevor Daniel stuff, but it's like, that's probably the least one I wanna post or, like, the
Yeah.
least type, um, so I've been kinda on the fence about starting it back up just because I don't have a solid direction on it, and I feel like if I just posted whatever I wanted, then my channel would suffer because of it.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, one of your big placements is with Trevor Daniel. Like how did that come about?
It was, very random actually. So, it was just a stream of just knowing people. So, I basically was on Discord, and this basically all happened through Discord essentially. But I messaged one of my friends, Synchro, who, he has songs with like Lil Mosey and stuff like that. And I had just gotten my guitar back, and so I started doing guitar loops. So I started sending some to him, and he was like, "These are awesome, but like these aren't my style. Like you should send them to this guy Kim J." And Kim J was known, he was like one of the top people for Juice World type beats on YouTube.
Yeah.
So, I started sending them to him and he would post them, and um, that was when 6 hopped on it and made Till I Die, which is like my biggest produced song. I think it's like 13 million views or something like that.
Damn, that's crazy.
But through 6 I basically met Love on Friday, who engineers Trevor's stuff, and they're like best friends. So basically, it was like I met a person who knew another person who, and it just kind of trickled down into what it was. But then that was kind of how I got the connect, was just basically through Love on Friday and 6 and just hold that whole group of people. And I just kind of was like, I'm gonna double down and just like work with these people because I just really like their stuff. And obviously with Till I Die, it was already kind of working. So yeah, that's kinda how it came about.
Yeah, just good old organic networking.
Yeah, and it's like, I didn't expect anything about it, like, 6 and Love on Friday, I didn't even know they had any relation to them. It was just purely out of, like, they always say, like, you don't wanna reach for the drakes if you're, like, way down here, when
Yeah.
you could just be building something with someone. And usually that's a lot more efficient with your time, and, um, that's how you really stay consistent as far as, like, placements wise, is if you have, like, a direct line of connection with the person.
Yeah, 100%. Um, yeah, because whenever producers talk about, like, networking, like, they make it seem like it's this whole crazy process what involves, like, all of these steps that has to be a certain type of way, when it's like when you really start doing it, it's not like that at all. It's mostly just, like, building relationships and friendships with people, like,
Yep.
organically, because people can, like, smell that when you just wanna hit them up for something, you know?
Exactly, bro, and, I mean, it's easy to catch on, like you said, people will just, if people are only hitting you up to ask stuff from you, that's usually a bad sign, unless, um, you're in a they're in a position where they have the placements and, like, they're asking things of you, like, "I need loops for this so and so," or blah, 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 blah. But, there's a fine line between being helpful and being taken advantage of. And I think you just got to be able to read the room and really just try to build relationships with people you actually have a connection with, as opposed to just dick riding, whoever's got a Drake song, or, whatever.
Yeah,
Because,
100%.
their DMs are going to be like insane.
Yeah.
Um, but, I have connections with people who I never would have thought, just through posting content online and stuff like that, and I feel like having as much leverage as possible just kinda makes it really easy down the road to kinda hit people up, because 'cause they'll go to your profile, it's like, got 20K followers, and, you got, people messaging in your, like, people commenting on your posts that are, like, mutuals of theirs, and it just kinda makes it easier to build relationships when, I guess it's almost like it's your portfolio. Like, everything you put out is kind of like, showing off what you're capable of. So having things like placements and mutuals can go a really long way.
Yeah, for sure. I wanna talk about, like, making content and how that helps with, like, building connections and networking. But before that, what advice would you give to, newer producers who are trying to, get out there and network and connect with other producers and artists? Like, what would you tell them?
Just start small. Like, I don't think you have to reach very high, especially because, like, um, I feel like it kinda trickles down, like what I was saying earlier, is just one of those things where everybody knows everybody after a certain point. You kinda realize that, um, like, it's such a small world, and reputation really matters. So, if you're if you're not that great, but you're easy to work with, and you're really putting in those hours, like, people will see that, and they'll, like, be more open to giving you a shot and stuff like that, as opposed to, um, if you're just kind of slacking as far as, like, putting out loops and stuff like that, and sending stuff out, and you're, like, super slow to respond, and you're difficult to work with, people aren't just gonna wanna work with you. But yeah, I would just try to, like, go on Genius, find artists that you like, that someone produced on, try to see what their followers are like, and try to find the ones that don't really have that big of a following, so it's easy to get in contact with them and just build. Like, you don't have to go super crazy and, like, hit every single Metro Boomin up and, like, be like, "Yo, bro," or don't comment "yo" either in their DMs.
Yeah, right. I hate that.
Make it personable.
For sure. Yeah, no, that Genius thing is a gem right there for sure, especially for finding, like, producers that do have, like, some bigger placements and are just now getting into the game in one way or the other, but aren't super popular like the Metro Boomins or all that.
Yeah, you'd be surprised, 'cause, I was actually reading a book that was basically saying, like, like, there's the inner, or yeah, there's the inner social status, which is basically like your network, and then there's, like, the outer, which is like social media and how people perceive you numbers wise. And there's actually a lot of people who have, like, crazy connections that don't really have that big of a following. And if you just find those people and really just kind of, like, build, like, a actual relationship with them, like, you can go so far. I know so many producers that have, like, under 1,000 followers on Instagram, but the level of connections that they have within the industry itself is just crazy.
No, yeah, 100%. That's facts. That's another gem right there for sure. But yeah, like we were talking about earlier, like making content and growing in that way, like what benefits have you seen when it comes to networking and getting placements and all that because you make content and you put your face out there in that way? What have you seen from that?
Yeah, it's just been, like, little stuff here and there, like, really like, for example, you saying that you hit me up or that you knew me from, like, 2017 off of videos being recommended, like, I've had really big producers who I admire their work, and I've been following them, like, way before the whole YouTube thing. I've had them hit me up and be like, "Yo, like, let's work. I like your content. I like this, that, and the other," and it's just like it's kinda crazy to think that, just putting content out there, even though I didn't think it was very good at the time, like, can impact other people in a way that they would wanna work with you, and I think just being vulnerable and, like, putting yourself out there is so, so, so important, like, I'm not the best looking guy, I'm not like, I don't think you have to be a supermodel to be a great producer, like, um, I feel like the producer community is pretty welcome to that stuff, and you just gotta be confident in yourself and just not let hate get to you because there's gonna be a ton of those, and, for you to just kinda worry about that and prevent yourself from posting things, because of what other people think is gonna just hold you back, basically.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. You never know who's watching your content, even if you're not getting like crazy views. Like producers, we all like to go on YouTube and watch producer tutorials and cookups and stuff like that. So
Oh, wait, did you cut out? Oh, no. I think you cut out, or maybe I cut out. Troy, no. Uh-oh.
oh, can you hear me?
Yes, you're good now.
That's weird. I got an unstable connection, but it looks like we're good now.
Yeah, it's better quality now.
Yeah, I think my internet just must have hiccuped or something. But yeah. Um, what was I talking about?
Putting yourself out there.
Yeah, it looks like I just froze for a bit, but we're good. But yeah, that's the cool thing about making content. Like, yeah, like producers, like no matter what like degree of producer you are, like we all have the same habits and we're all on YouTube, we're all on Instagram. So it's like making content, whether it's YouTube videos or shorts, just putting yourself out there. Like you never know who's gonna see it. And that's the cool thing about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the same with, like, type B channels is, like I feel like you guys push that too, where it's like, it doesn't really matter if your type B video has 200 views when one of those people can, be, like, purchase, like, multiple of your beats, and you never really know, like, who's gonna invest in you and, like, who's, like, a diehard fan and, like, will watch all your stuff, and, like, you just gotta slowly build it all, like, there's no real shortcuts when it comes to this stuff, it's just being consistent, which, I can attest to, not being consistent and how it has affected my YouTube channel particularly, but I think it's super important to just put yourself out there, not worry too much about the end result of the beat, because 'cause you're not gonna like everything you put out there, um, but I feel like it'll do more good than bad if you just put stuff out, because while you might not enjoy something, someone else would, and you might have just prevented an extra fan just by being like or, like, letting your ego get the best of you, basically.
Yeah. It's like they say, like perfection is the enemy of good. It's better to just put yourself out there.
Mhm.
Like don't be a perfectionist and hold yourself back from just letting opportunities come to you just by being present. But yeah, I can speak to also the benefits of being consistent and the negatives of being inconsistent more
Yeah.
recently on YouTube, because that's how I've been able to grow and make the majority of all the connections I have just by posting type beats, you know? Because all my major placements, all like the cool people I know, mostly or cool artists I know, is like they just found me from YouTube, from searching up type beats and reached out in that way, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, I've had people like who were hitting me up regularly stop hitting me up because of my lack of consistency and as far as posting goes. And um I don't know, like while I kind of understand where they're coming from, but I also think that it's like kind of messed up in a way that they would only reach out to you when you're doing well, but not when you are having slow months or years or whatever. Um, but I mean, that's just part of the game. You can't really let that like get to you, and I don't know because there are a lot of shady things about like the producer community that I could go on about, but probably not.
Yeah, we can talk about that off the air.
Yeah.
No, yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's good to not take stuff like that personal because, I'm sure like aside from your situation, like even if you're not consistent, like the way that our attention spans are nowadays and the way that these algorithms are is just like just posting and staying present like keeps you top of mind. So that's just what you lose out on when you aren't
Yeah.
consistent like that. But yeah, I want to talk about you had just started or you had just recently gone viral on TikTok
Yeah.
for the
That was
um
wild.
the AI the AI type beat thing, which I'm
Yeah.
not gonna lie, that got me when I first saw it. I thought that was real.
I think it got a lot of people. I honestly didn't think it was, like, convincing enough personally, but, I wasn't really trying to be super convincing. I basically found out, um like, I have a friend, his name is Titus. He makes, like, alt rock type stuff. Um, like, he's an artist, not a producer, by the way. But, he did an AI video, where he basically put it into a lyric generator, and then it pulled up his song, and I was like, "That would piss a lot of people off if I did that for beats." So then I basically found, Refusion, which is the AI thing that I used in the videos, because it allowed you to put in prompts, and then I just typed in whatever I thought my beat sounded like, and then I hit play on my own beat, and, like, people lost their fucking minds. It was hilarious.
Yeah, I know. That fooled me at first. I was like, "Oh, I gotta check that out. That sounds pretty clean."
Everybody it's just funny because half the comments are like, "Oh, we're done for. I gotta go find a job." And then the other half is like, "This is fake."
Right?
And I that was basically what I was going for, is I knew it was gonna be controversial, which I think is probably one of the best performing types of videos, especially on TikTok. It's
Oh, yeah.
like entertainment based, information or educational or controversial, or it's a combination of those 3. Um, but yeah, like, I kinda just didn't answer any questions in the comments, and I was, like, egging people on and baiting people into commenting more, which brought my engagement up, and, you just got I had to milk it for a little bit, so I just kept posting those, expecting reactions out of people, and I went from, like, 1,300 followers to almost 20K now within, like, a week and a half, maybe?
Damn.
Yeah.
No, that's pretty good growth. Yeah, especially with how trending AI is with, how
Yeah.
Chat GPT just came out last month or so, you know?
Yeah.
It's like the perfect combination of controversy and emerging technology.
Exactly, yeah, that's why in the one that did, like I think it's at, like, 3.3 million views, it was basically the caption was something along the lines of, "I just sold this AI generated beat for $2,000." And I knew a lot of people would be pissed at me about that because it's like a moral gray area, but, where it's like, is it right for me to have sold that beat for $2,000? Like, is it like, what are the copyright issues involved with that and this, that, and the other? And it's just like a huge gray area. So a lot of the comments kind of fed into that whole bait, which kind of made it perform as well as it did.
Yeah, so you kinda thought about it strategically a little bit, right?
Oh yeah, most definitely. Like I feel like the because I did a series of like 4 or 5 videos like that, and the ones that I had like a more controversial caption, were the ones that ended up performing the best.
Yeah, that's interesting. So what was your experience on TikTok like before that? Because you said you had 1,300 followers on there before.
Yeah, so I had been posting probably like a month or two for a month or two about like 2 or 3 times a day regularly, and, I didn't really have any, like, big videos that popped off, um, but it's just a matter of, like, trying a bunch of different stuff, using popular sounds, and like I said, either doing one of the 3 things, like having informative content, entertainment-oriented stuff, or, controversial, and it's just kind of finding, like, a balance of, like, what works and what doesn't, and seeing the analytics and just seeing how it performs, or even, like, studying other people and seeing how their content is or how they format it and kind of, like, emulating it, but putting your own spin on it, basically, so you're not just flat out copying people, but you basically wanna offer something of value, and that goes, like, not just TikTok oriented, but it's just, like, short form or long form, like, you basically want them to get something out of your video by the time they're finished watching it, and I feel like that's what kinda creates followers and, um, kinda helps you build your brand is when you're actually helping people.
No, yeah, for sure. Being able to provide value is like how you can connect with people and what makes them want to follow you and all that.
Yeah, and value can be so many different things to some people. It's like, if it made you laugh or smile, or, you thought the beat was cool, or, I do a rapper's duet where I like play my beat and then I can have a rapper, do their thing on it. Like that could be valuable to them. Or I don't know, it's just trying to find like different ways that you can help others and not being so focused on like, I need followers, I need this. And it shouldn't be about you. It should be about what you can offer others. And if they like what they see, then they'll follow.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's really like that principle applies to more than just like content creation as producer. Like that's more of an overall business approach of things. It's like the more value that you can provide to others and more valuable you make yourself in that way is like that's how you can really like connect with people and like make things move in no any kind of industry really.
Yeah, there's actually a really good book that I wanna recommend for that actually. It's called The Unfair Advantage, and it basically has this, it's called, like, the Miles framework, and basically there's, like, 5 different ways that you can offer value to someone. It could be money, intelligence and insight, location and luck, education and expertise, or status, and it can be, like, 2 ends of the spectrum, so you don't have to have money to provide things of value to people. The lack of money can offer different advantages that someone with money wouldn't be able to do otherwise. And this goes for every single piece of the framework. And yeah, if you're, I think like just not even being a music producer, but reading that book can be super valuable for just knowing how to navigate this world basically.
Yeah, for sure. I thought you were gonna say when you said a book, I thought you were gonna say The Go Giver. Have you heard of that
Oh,
one?
that's on my list. I haven't read that yet. Have
Yeah,
you
I
read
haven't.
it?
Yeah, I read that one. I it was pretty good. It goes about it a different way, like more in a business way, like being able to give value to others and reaping the benefits of that.
Mhm.
Now, but that's for sure. Like two really good books. I think producers that make content and all this should like really consider reading because you know when you start to do stuff like this to make a living and make money, you got to think about it from an entrepreneurial way and definitely reading books and learning stuff like that is one way to get ahead for that.
Yeah. Yeah, reading books is so underrated. I wish I had started earlier because it's, like, basically someone's life experience condensed into, like, 3 or 400 pages. So you're getting a really refined version of it, and then, you throw, like, taking notes on top of that. It's just, like, I don't know, you can take so much away from each little thing, like, there have been business books that I've read that are related to creativity or even vice versa. It's like I've read self-help or creativity stuff and realized that it, benefits how I operate uh, from like a business aspect of it. And it just kind of, especially as a content creator, you know, I feel like it just gives you a bunch of topics that you can talk about too. It's just, you can basically just read a book and then talk about what you learned in that book and relate it to music production. Like it can be anything.
Yeah, for sure. I didn't think we were gonna make that point, but yeah, books are definitely overlooked by a lot of producers.
Yeah. I've been wanting to read some like music theory ones, but I don't know. I just kind of click and pray. Like I don't really know what I'm doing. I just make it work.
Yeah. No, I'm the same. I don't have a strong theory background at all. But going back to TikTok, like what would you give what kind of advice would you give to a producer who's trying to get into making content like that? Short form content on TikTok.
Yeah, I think a lot of it I kind of already touched already as far as like certain things. Like I said, studying other people and kind of like implementing it in your own way is like a super valuable thing. Um, and yeah, just trying to like post as much as you can and like seeing what performs well, see what does, and then just doubling down on what works and kind of like, changing things up to see if you can get a better result, because a lot of it is just trial and error. And also it comes down to the algorithm. Sometimes you can post the same piece of content and it'll perform better like a week later than it did, like the first time you posted it, or vice versa. It's just, you never know. But yeah, you just got to put out a lot of stuff and not worry too much about your followers because those will come eventually, I think.
Yeah, for sure. There's some good tips.
And also watch time. You just gotta try to make it as short as you possibly can while still getting the information across, I think.
Yeah.
I try to keep it under a minute at all times.
Do you put a lot of thought and effort into the first few seconds and your hook and all that?
Yes, but not as I don't think I do it as much as I should. Because I saw this video recently where they were basically saying like you should basically every time you make a video, record out like 10 hooks at the very end of it. And then that way you can kind of pick and choose which one you think would probably grab the viewer's attention best and go with that one. Or you can post the same piece of content multiple times and have a different intro and see how it performs. Um, yeah, there's a lot of different ways you can go about it. I still am definitely somewhat new as far as like short form content goes. Um, but yeah, experimenting is probably the biggest thing you can do and not worry so much about the end result because that's going to fluctuate a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, especially for the short form content. Now, you definitely dropped some good gems though about making content and all that. For some of the newer listeners here, I just got a couple more questions that I want to ask Relik, but at the end of it, we're gonna be going through some questions and answers from the comments. So we got a few already lined up already, but if anybody else wants to go ahead and ask a question right now, now's the time to be doing it. But yeah, content for sure is definitely, I think, gonna be staying around in the producer community as a way to grow your brand and a community around it. Um, for someone trying to get into it, would you recommend that they start getting into like more long form content, like posting on YouTube, or do you think they should go about like short form on TikTok and Reels?
I that's a good question. I think you can actually do both. I think probably the best way to go about it, at least now, is making long form content, but thinking about how you can make those short form as well. So you're kind of like it's like a double whammy. Like you basically take a long form piece of content that you could post on like YouTube or something like that, and then you can like edit it down to bite-sized pieces, make it vertical, and then just post those same things on different platforms. And you'd be surprised how it gets interpreted differently by which platform you post it on. Because like you can post the same short form content on Twitter, Instagram, what is it, YouTube Shorts, um, and then obviously TikTok, and each of them will perform drastically different.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've seen the same thing where it's like I don't have a lot of experience posting, but the times I have, it's like you'll see one thing get way more attention on Instagram Reels and then get no views on TikTok, and then the next one it's vice versa.
Yeah, I still need to get on the whole like cross posting on different platforms. But I wasn't sure if I wanted to do with the AI stuff, at least on Instagram.
Yeah, I don't see any reason not to post every piece of short form like on all the platforms, you know?
That's true. Yeah. I was talking to, Infinite,
Um
Prod by Infinite. He's
yeah,
got
yeah.
like 105, 106K on TikTok and 30K on YouTube. You
Yeah, I'm
you
pretty
should
sure
do
I've seen that
interview on
name.
him. He's dope. But he was just saying like post on everything. Like it doesn't matter because you never know. Like he's like it got 7K on TikTok, but then I posted on Shorts and it did so and so numbers, and it's just like that's just more people to see your content.
Yeah, 100%. No, yeah, I thought that was a question because like you have pretty good experience posting like on YouTube and now on TikTok, and you seem to have some pretty good success with that, you know? Have you
Yeah,
posted any shorts on YouTube?
no, not yet. I Do people post it on their main channel now, or do they post it on secondary? Because I know they have like a different section for the shorts now on your, like if you go to your profile.
Yeah, I think it really depends. Like I know some people have a channel just for shorts, but I
Mhm.
think maybe people did that because the way that it affected your channel's algorithm was a lot more unknown then than it is now.
Yeah, I
But
know when they like first started it out that they were using the same algorithm as they use for like long form content,
yeah,
and that became really problematic because people would like follow for short form content, and then your long form content would just tank in, as far as performance goes, because no one wants to watch that because everybody followed you for your short form content. And so there was this whole like issue, and that's why people made a second channel. But I don't know if that's still a problem or not.
yeah. If I'm not mistaken, it's not anymore.
That's good.
Yeah. I mean, the only reason I would see to have a separate channel for the shorts is if it's like targeting a separate audience, which is like if you got a type B channel and you start making producer content shorts, and bringing in a producer audience, that may not be the
Yeah.
most intuitive thing if you're trying to get your views up for type
It's like
beats, you
Chucky
know?
Beats or something, or like Cody, where they have like
Yeah.
their type B channel and then they have their like secondary, which is like more like music producer type
Mhm.
stuff.
Yeah. I think that's like the best strategy nowadays. Like if you want to do both, have it split between your artists and your producers.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna
Yeah.
have to get on that, and then maybe we could do another video where I talk about the results or something. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. We should try that for sure. Um, but yeah, we can go ahead and start asking some questions from the audience. If
Sweet,
anybody
yeah.
else has any questions, go ahead and drop them in the comments below. Here's one from 213. He's got a question on if he should send beats out in MP3 or Wave. But I kind of wanted to elaborate on this and just like talking about kind of the best practices when sending beats out to artists in general, because you can do things in a certain way that's going to make them want to hop on it, and then you can do other things that's going to turn them off before they even um, hear your beats. So just to answer this question, obviously if you're sending them just in the attachment, the MP3 is gonna fit a lot more than you might not be able to fit your wave beat in there.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely do MP3s only. And how much I send depends on how well I know them. Like if I know them really well, then I'll send like a fat pack of beats and I know that they'll go through all of them. Whereas like if I'm sending out to like someone specific and then it has to be more concise, then I try to keep it pretty limited to like 5, 10 maybe max. Um, but yeah, it definitely comes down to how well you know the artist.
Yeah, it's sending beats to your friends versus like almost cold emailing an artist is two very different things.
Yeah, and you don't wanna send unsolicited emails either, um, like buying email lists and stuff like that is not gonna help you long term. Like you might get lucky, but more often than not, you're just gonna piss someone off and they're gonna block you. So,
Yeah. I think that's like 99% of what's gonna happen. I think like, yeah, for sure. Definitely don't do stuff unsolicited or buy like those email lists for sure. But a lot of times rappers will post in their stories like send beats and then an email. And I think when they do that, it's like the time when how you said, send something like a smaller pack, like concise, just what exactly what they're looking for to try and put that first foot forward in the best way.
yeah, but like I was saying earlier, more often than not, like that's their like public email. So they definitely have a private email that their like main producers send to. So if you
Hmm.
could like work closely or reach out to the people that you know work with them consistently and double down and like just build and just send as much as you can to those guys, like I feel like you'll probably get more opportunities as opposed to just like cold emailing people.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. We have someone shout out Reddit Relic for all the gems on Reddit. That's another place where I see you a lot on Reddit.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you, eye patch. Yeah, I moderate trap production and loop kits, and I'm trying to take acapellas right now. I'm trying to drop like acapellas every day.
That's cool. I think I saw you post about having some troubles with that. But
Yeah, drum
what
kits won't let me.
oh, they're I'm sure they can be difficult to work with.
Yeah, bro. I hit them up and they're like, this isn't a drum kit. I'm like, okay, but you posted other acapella kits in the past, but all right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I got like all these fat acapella packs that I got from drum kits.
Yeah. I mean, it's whatever. I'll
Yeah.
just build a better subreddit. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I want to highlight that because at being pretty active on Reddit, is that a kind of a overlooked platform for producers, do you think?
Mm, I don't want to throw shade, but I feel like you could go without it. I do think there is an untapped audience there, depending on like what you're posting. Um, for me personally, I just genuinely enjoy helping people, and that was kind of how I started out in the beginning. Like r/drum kits wasn't a thing. I was just like digesting a bunch of stuff from like forums and EDM production and like a bunch of subreddits, and I kind of just like helping other people too. If I could like help speed up um, how well they make beats or perform or whatever, but just by something I say online, then so be it. But there's a lot of toxic people on Reddit that sometimes kind of sucks away the enjoyment out of it. So I kind of fluctuate as far as like consistency on there.
Yeah, it can be very doom and gloom there,
Yeah.
depending on the topic. But I definitely think it can be a very like niche social media platform and community. So I think there may be some opportunity for like some cool like networking to happen because it's like, aside from YouTube videos, if I didn't know you from there, then I'd know you from Reddit.
Yeah, see, that's the thing is like there's like, the Lunch 77s and the artists and like a lot of those people who just got known off of giving out free game, like really. And like, a lot of them got signed and have deals now because of them just helping other people. And I think there's a lot to be said. Just I wouldn't say that Reddit's like underrated, but I think just being on as many platforms as possible, and like I said earlier, just providing value in whatever way you can, um, you'll see results eventually. Like for example, that like iPatch just commented about my Reddit post, and I never even think about how that impacts other people in certain ways because not a lot of people reach out and say stuff like that. But it's just crazy how you can impact people just off of little stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of like almost like micro content where it's like every comment, every post you make is, an opportunity for someone to see something and connect with it.
Yeah, most definitely.
But yeah. Let's see here. We have Beats by Frugi. Said he struggles a lot because he doesn't have a studio with monitors, so he doesn't know how to record his content. So I kind of wanted to see like what kind of advice you have someone who maybe doesn't have a full setup but wants to make content, because you really just need your phone.
Exactly, but that's what I was gonna say, 'cause,
Yeah,
Simon Zarita was working on his phone. He was recording, I think for the first 2 or 3 years of YouTube, was entirely recorded off of his phone. So,
really.
yeah, the whole I forget where he said that, but it's absolutely true. And yeah, even my friend View, who was making 6K a month, um, was mixing all of his beats off of Skull Candy earbuds. Like, I think the premise of, like, I know it probably looks crazy because I have, like, the wild studio set up and everything, but I swear to God, you don't need all that. That's just because 'cause I'm, like, a audio nerd personally. But,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, this is definitely not a mandatory thing. You can literally make it work off of your phone and some earbuds and, like, just OBS. It really just comes down to the content you're putting out and how you're impacting other people, as opposed to what you're recording it with and what you're mixing on, because that can be upgraded at any time. You can take the monetization money that you make from YouTube and, you know, put towards like audio gear or just save up here and there.
Yeah, for sure. Since you have like more of a background with bands and stuff, like do you have more experience and interest in like the audio engineering and recording side of things?
Yeah, most definitely. There's a lot of pieces of gear I bought just purely off of like impulse purchases. But yeah, I feel like you kind of just learn a whole different world as far as like how thing basically like signal flow through like mixers and like how to actually record stuff through like pedals and I don't know, it's just like a whole different world, and like being able to commit to audio as opposed to having everything constantly interchangeable with VSTs and stuff. It allows you to commit to your decisions and just keep moving on, as opposed to, I make a MIDI, but then I don't consolidate it down because I don't want it to like, what if I want to change it later? You know what I mean? And it just, I don't know. I feel like you can always like second guess yourself if you're just constantly in MIDI and like in the box.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's cool because before I even made beats, actually, I just wanted to be an audio engineer and mixer and record bands and that kind of stuff. So that's what I was doing and how I got into this whole producing and audio world before I even got into like making beats. So I always love talk about that kind of stuff and everything like that.
Yeah, I feel like there's so much you can learn from just that aspect of it. Like even if you don't even make like rock music or stuff like that, it just learning different workflows and how it affects the end result, and like just trying to figure out what you can and can implement into your own workflow can be super helpful sometimes. Like I've recorded so many guitars with just my iPhone and that I've used in loops, or I've recorded on this, or like run it through a bunch of pedals, or you don't even have to run guitars through pedals. You can run like anything really, as long as
Yeah.
you have the cables.
Yeah, pedals, that's kind of been a hot topic for producers for the last couple of years, but I feel like it hasn't really been such a popular thing because, it takes that physical space and a
Yeah.
little bit more knowledge on how to set it up.
Yeah, I mean, you can still make it work though without it, but it's like you can't pirate a guitar pedal is the real thing. Is like a little
Right?
hard to get your hands on it. But even like taking VSTs, like for example, Portal, I use Portal all the time, and like committing that to audio and messing with it as if you ran it through a pedal, can yield some interesting results that you wouldn't get otherwise.
No, yeah, for sure. You can definitely get crazy with that.
Yeah, I kind of
Um,
abuse Portal personally, but
yeah, I think I do too.
I think everybody does if they have it.
Yeah, once you figure it out and get past just using presets, it's super powerful.
Yeah, learning how to make your own presets is actually super useful.
Yeah, for sure. So we got time for a few more questions. If anybody wants to drop some more down below before we get going, go ahead right now. But I believe he corrected us and said his name is pronounced Fantasies
Yeah,
earlier.
yeah, yeah. Sorry,
But
buddy.
yeah, sorry about that. So he wants to know how he can start collaborating with producers and fostering those long-term relationships. So I guess what other networking tips and tricks do you have for newer people trying to build those first relationships?
I would say Discord, man. Like, yeah, I feel like a lot of people underestimate Discord and like the community that you can like build in there. Like even just joining somebody else's Discord like Cody's or like Internet Money or whoever and just like finding some people who, you're kind of at a similar skill level and just like getting in voice chats and screen recording and just like kind of like learning stuff from each other. Like that was probably one of the biggest pieces of growth that I ever had. Like even just as far as like making music was just learning from other people that um had a different skill set than me and just kind of like taking different pieces of information and eventually it just kind of like accumulates into something completely new. Like you could have the same techniques as someone else, but um, you still won't make the same end result at the end of the day because you have your own preferences and stuff like that. So kind of just I don't know. That's the biggest piece of information I can give is Discord.
No, I agree with you 100%. If you're a producer and you're not on Discord in 2023, definitely hop on that. Like, there's so many connections and people you can meet just by, you know, popping in every once in a while. I've definitely met some cool rappers and producers just by joining different Discord servers or their own personal Discord servers and then, connecting with them and being friends with them and then seeing them go on to do really cool things and knowing them just from, chopping it up before.
Yeah. Like I mean, I found out about Elkin and XY Nothing and a lot of those guys through my friend Tooch through Discord. And now they have songs with Metro and Tory Lanez and this, that, and the other. And it's just like you never know, bro. Like, and that's the thing is like just try to keep tabs with them and just like hit them up every once in a while and just be like, yo, like, because you never know, bro. Like, those what's the word? Like just having a nice network of people and not making it forced, just building relationships naturally. Eventually, things will come back around.
Yeah, for sure. And I think one really good Discord server is the Heat Discord server, which you can join
Facts.
in the description down below. Now, there's definitely a lot of gems there and some really cool people that come through. And
And it's pretty active.
yeah, it's one of the best producer Discord servers in my opinion. Like completely unbiased from me, my association with it. But
I'm
because
not associated with it, and I could agree with you. So
yeah, and I would say the same before I was associated, and that's the whole reason why this came about from just me being in there. You
exactly.
know,
Now you're
now I
part of
got a
the team.
job
Hell yeah.
for sure. Yeah, Discord is definitely it. I think we got another question from 213. He has any thoughts about uploading beats with distributors like DistroKid? Would you recommend that for producers?
I think it just depends on like where you're trying to go because there's people like Ramzoid who drops his own stuff. Aries is now a full-time artist. When he used to do music producer stuff. And then there's, people like Eldre who do like the lo-fi and they can make it work. I think there is a demand for as far as like instrumentals and stuff goes on um, Spotify. Um, but I think you just got to make sure that you're what's the way to put it? Like I would promote it in as many ways as possible outside of Spotify and like other platforms like that. Like I would look into playlisting and try to get that in like a few weeks in advance before your upload. I would make hella short form content on like those beats and stuff like that and try to like get as many listeners and viewership as possible with the limited resources you have But really, the world is your oyster. You can do whatever you want. It doesn't have to be like I think you should just follow what you want to do, and if you want to upload it onto distributors and stuff like that, you never know like what could happen. Like, so I say, fuck it, try it.
No, yeah, definitely for sure. The possibilities are unlimited with what you can do with streaming instrumentals because people like to hear instrumental stuff. I wouldn't say just go posting your type beats on Spotify and expect that to like lead to sales. But if you have a strategy on posting instrumental music, that's definitely a viable way to grow your career. Especially if you do it in the right way, like how you're saying, submit to playlists and make content about it.
Yeah, because otherwise you're just not gonna get any viewership or anything like that. Like, it's really hard to build, especially from scratch, off of things like Spotify, unless you have like the connects as far as like playlisting and stuff goes. But if you're trying to like push as much traffic there as possible, like it's definitely a viable option because like I said, there's already like a bunch of producers, even Decap, and like a lot of these SoundCloud guys, like yeah, there's people making full-time living off of just instrumental-esque stuff. So it's absolutely possible, though it's not going to be easy. And
Yeah.
it'll probably take a really long time, but
Yeah. At that point, you're doing the artist thing, which is
yeah.
cool to do, but it's just like don't expect things overnight.
Yeah, but then you have a certain level of control about what you can and can't put out, and like I don't know, I think you can even have people kind of like Y2K where you start out making instrumentals and remixes and stuff, and then now here you are like having relationships with those artists, and you can like put out. It's like Kenny Beats, he's got like the Kenny Beats collab albums now where his name is on it too as an artist. And like you can turn it into anything really, as long as you have the platform and like leverage.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I think that's the last question we got. It's already a little bit over an hour, so we're gonna go ahead and end this interview right here. But it's been a really good talking to you, bro.
Likewise, we should do this more actually.
Yeah, yeah, it's cool. We haven't talked like this, but we've been knowing of each other for a little while now.
Facts.
Yeah. So
Thanks for having me on here.
yeah, of course. One more thing before we go, I'm gonna ask you if you want to shout anything out, but from seeing what you post on other things, like I know you've got kind of a rework of your website in the works and some cool plans with that. Is that something you are wanting to share here, or is it a little too soon for that?
Yeah, I could definitely do that. I definitely am reworking my website right now. I basically want to have it to where it's like I've learned 3D modeling, and I'm trying to like basically build this whole like world and ecosystem for like my drum kits and like preset packs and anything I put out. And I'm also going to be dropping merch, which I'm actually wearing the first piece of it right now, which is my Magma kit, which I'll have eventually out. But yeah, all my platforms are Relik Selects, Relik with a K, and yeah, that's all I gotta say. I appreciate you having me on here.
Yeah, for sure. This was a great conversation, and I love the unique approach you're going with your kit store. I think that's definitely going to be very successful if you go about it that way. Because I haven't seen anybody else do it like that yet.
Yeah, no, I want to see how it turns out. Um, wait, that was a long name, but no, you're good for being. It's okay for being late. It'll be back up on their channel, so you can like rewatch it if you want.
Yeah, it's like, hi guys, right when we're about to cut it. Nah, but yeah, like you said, it's gonna be up on the channel for full if everybody wants to check it out afterwards. But yeah, that's been the office hours with Relic. It's been a good one, bro. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thank you, man.
All right, for sure. We're gonna have to cut it here. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and we'll see you guys for the next one.
See you guys.
Peace. Okay, I'm gonna end it.